so much for that idea. So much for? What does that mean? I'm Teacher Mike, and today we're talking about 7 expressions that you've probably heard before, but might not fully understand how to use. First, we have for the time being, which is basically just a more formal way of saying for now. It tells us that something is temporary because there is a situation that we think is going to change in the future. For example, maybe your brother has just moved out of his old apartment and doesn't have anywhere to live yet. You might say to him, "You can stay with me for the time being." Or maybe your office is being renovated, so you're working from home until the renovation is complete. You could say, "I'm working at home for the time being." Our second expression is might as well. This one basically means that there isn't a good reason not to do something. For example, maybe you go to buy glasses, and when you're there, they offer to give you a free eye exam. You might reply, "It's free? Sure, might as well." And although in that example you're talking about yourself, you can also use this to make suggestions. For example, maybe you're waiting in line somewhere, and when you're finally almost to the front of the line, your friend says that they don't want to wait anymore. You could say, "We've already waited 10 minutes, we might as well wait just 1 or 2 more. Third, we have I take it that. I take it that is very similar to I guess or I assume. It basically means this is how it looks or seems to me right now. Am I correct? For example, maybe you meet someone and they tell you that they're from Thailand. You might say, "Then I take it that you like spicy food?" Or maybe you messaged a friend telling them that you need to cancel your party. But on the day that that party was originally scheduled for, that friend knocks on your door holding a present. You could say to them, "I take it that you didn't read my message?" Fourth, we have let's just say. This one basically means I'm not going to tell you everything, but I think you can figure it out. For example, maybe you ask someone about a restaurant that they went to. If they reply, "Let's just say I won't be going back there," that probably means that they had a really bad experience there. Or maybe your boss calls you into her office and is very upset with you about something. If your coworker asks you how the meeting with your boss went, instead of replying, "She was really angry," you could say something like, "Well, let's just say I've learned my lesson." Next, we have for all I know, which basically means I don't know. For example, if my mom asks me if I know where my brother is, and I reply, "For all I know, he's in China right now," that does not mean that I think he's in China. What it means is just that it's possible that he's in China because I don't have any information at all, and therefore I can't say that he's not in China. I'm basically saying, don't ask me, I have no idea. And this one is good to know because you will hear it occasionally, but I don't recommend using it with people who you don't know well. This is because it can sound like you are annoyed that you don't have any information, or annoyed that that person is asking you for the information. And number 6 is at least. However, I'm not talking about using it with numbers. I'm talking about using it to say that although something was bad overall, there was also one thing that wasn't so bad. For example, maybe you go to a restaurant with your friends, and afterwards one of them keeps complaining about how bad the service was. In that situation, you could say, "Yeah, the service wasn't great, but at least the food was good." It basically means that although the service was bad, we're actually a little bit lucky, because without the good food, the experience could have been a lot worse. And finally, we have so much for. This is something we say when it becomes clear that something that we wanted or expected to happen is not going to happen. For example, maybe you and your friend want to take the bus somewhere. But when you check, you find out that the bus doesn't go to that place. Well, so much for that idea. And you can also use gerunds or other nouns instead of the word idea. For example, well, so much for taking the bus. However, so much for that idea and just so much for that are probably the two that you'll hear most often. And if you found this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more.